Welcome to the CTCL Virtual Days College Fair. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of many different sessions happening. Be sure to sign up for additional ones where you signed up for this one. And this presentation is being recorded. It'll be available to you within about a week at the same website where you registered. That's all the housekeeping stuff I have, so I'm going to turn it over to our presenters from Beloit College.
Good morning.
Hi.
Oh, go ahead, Cherish.
Hi, I'm Cherish Golden. I'm one of the admission counselors at Beloit College. So I'm joined by my colleagues today, and we hope you enjoy our info session.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emily McEntee. I'm the Associate Director of Admission here at Beloit. And yeah, we're just happy you're choosing to spend a little bit of your Sunday with us.
Now I'll go. Sorry, jumped the gun. Good morning. My name is Karen Smith. I am the Midwest Regional Admission Manager at Beloit College. So I get to work very closely with these two amazing colleagues that I have. And I'm going to start us off. And I'm going to start with thanking you for spending part of your Sunday with us. We understand the world is crazy right now on all kinds of levels. The world is crazy. We have a pandemic, we have fires, we have racial unrest, we have an impending election, and on and on and on. And so we hope that we can provide a few minutes of sanity for you. We would much rather be in a room with you, but we're going to do the best that we can in the circumstances that we have. I'm going to give you a quick overview, some general points about Beloit, and then we're going to dive into specific areas that will cover our academic environment, physical location, student body characteristics, and finally some next steps and question answering. And again, if you have questions throughout the presentation, you don't have to hold on to those. Type them into the Q&A as you think of them, and we will either address them during our presentation or more likely at the end. Okay, so at Beloit, you will become, right? In the true essence of the liberal arts tradition, we know that learning at Beloit pushes students, regardless of their major, to be productive collaborators. Few careers in this world operate in a vacuum. Our students will become intellectually and professionally agile. In our culture, what many start out doing when they leave college is not what they end up doing for the rest of their lives. And so careers in the world change, and we prepare our students to be poised to take advantage of that change. You will become effective and efficient problem solvers and this has never been more necessary than it is right now. And so our students will be well prepared to solve both the big and the small problems that they face in life and in their careers. And finally, being able to communicate effectively is crucial. Whether it is spoken, written, or artistic communication, none of what I've just mentioned is possible alone. So let's talk a little bit about our student body. We have 1,150 students. In addition to the points that we're giving you here in regards to they come from all over, I will also add that 25% of our students are US born students of color, 15% of our students are international students, and 40% of our students are Division III varsity athletes. So it's a really kind of crazy, cool, diverse place. 98% of our classes are under 30, which allows for a great deal of hands-on, collaborative, dynamic learning. For instance, all of our science classes take place in the labs all the time, starting on day one. So unlike many colleges where you will have 3 days of lecture and a long day of a lab, at Beloit you'll be in our labs all day, every time you have class. 98%, oh, I mentioned that. We have 2 museums on our campus. So that's the final thing I'm going to talk about. 2 working museums, which also function as teaching museums. And they contain artifacts and artwork that is displayed and curated by our students in conjunction with faculty in these specialty areas. We offer majors in anthropology and studio art and a minor in museum studies, which make daily use of the museums that we have on our campus.
So I'm going to jump in next and talk about Beloit and our surrounding area and then academics. So where is Beloit, Wisconsin? Beloit, Wisconsin is right at the bottom of the state. It's on the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. We're centrally located between 3 larger cities. So we're an hour south of Madison, Wisconsin, an hour and 15 south of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then we're 90 minutes north of Chicago. So Beloit is a smaller, laid-back city, but there's opportunities in the surrounding area and beyond. So the city currently has around 37,000 people, and we have lots of events that take place throughout the year. One of those staples is the Beloit International Film Festival. So this will take place each year in February. They will have dozens of screenwriters come to Beloit and showcase their films and documentaries, and different restaurants in downtown will serve as venues. Also, the campus is about a 5-minute walk from downtown Beloit. So downtown Beloit has a lot of new restaurants and businesses, so a lot of our students will get off campus and gravitate towards the area. We're also home to a couple of key companies. So we're home to Carey Ingredients, ABC Supply Company, Fairbanks Morse, Regal Beloit, and Beloit Health System. So we have had students do their field work in these companies and more. We also have an award-winning farmers market. We have our Rock River with the Buccaneer Boathouse, and we have an amazing foodie scene. So 174 years of red brick brilliance. Beloit College is Wisconsin's oldest continuously operated college. We were founded in 1846, which was actually 2 years before the state of Wisconsin was founded. If you ever have a chance to get on campus, and we do have on-campus visits currently, you will see that a lot of the buildings have historical preservation. They kind of have a New England aesthetic. Also, the campus is located in the historic East District of Beloit. So academics. 1/3 of our students choose to double major. And part of this is the strong advising and the way our degree requirements are set up. So some of our most popular majors are anthropology, which is because of the teaching museum, biochemistry. We have a lot of students that will go the pre-med route, so they will major in biochem, creative writing, economics, education and youth studies, and then psychology. So exploring with a passion, we want students to be gaining meaningful experiences outside of the classroom, and there's many ways you can do that. So I'm just going to highlight a couple. So first, we have our liberal arts and practice requirement. This usually takes place when a student is an upperclassman and they take what they've learned in the classroom in their major and they apply it outside. So an internship, volunteer work, research, study abroad opportunity. Also, speaking of study abroad, about 40% of our students have done study abroad. If that is something that you are interested in, you're going to go through the Office of International Education. And this can be abroad domestically or internationally. Typically where you go will depend on your major or minor. There's also many opportunities to do research with professors. In downtown Beloit, we have Celeb, which is our Center for Entrepreneurship and Liberal Education at Beloit. So you don't have to be a particular major to utilize this building, but there's a lot of cool aspects of it. So we have our Makers Lab, we have Maple Tree Studios. So if you're interested in producing and mixing music, that's where you would go. We have Gallery ABBA. So a lot of our students that are majoring in art, they will showcase what they've done in Gallery ABBA. And then we have Beloit Access Television Station. So if you're interested in media studies and filmmaking, you can get hands-on experience in that space. And then we have our Career and Community Engagement Center. This is one department where students can get help with resume writing, mock interviews, get assistance with getting opportunities and placement set up beyond Beloit. And they also have a car rental program. So if you do have a field placement and need to get to and from that placement, you can reserve a car. And then support for our students. We want to make sure that our students are being supported before they get to campus and after they get to campus. So we have specific programming for underrepresented students. But first, we have a couple of departments. We have our Learning Enrichment and Disability Services Office, also known as LEADS. So any student that needs accommodations, whether that's for housing or for the classroom, this is the department that you would work with. They also offer tutoring through this department. We also have our writing center. Beloit is a very writing intensive campus. So if writing is a weaker point for you, we do have a wonderful writing center where you can get your essays and papers peer reviewed. And then the Office of International Education. Again, this is where you would go if you're interested in study abroad. And this office also provides support for our international students. On the other side, we have specific student programming that's offered through the Office of Student Success, Equity, and Community. So we have our Student Excellence in Leadership program, also known as CEL. This is a TRIO program and it's for 4 years. So students are invited to apply for this after they deposit to Beloit. If they're invited to participate, it starts off as a summer bridge program. So the students move in a week before everyone else. And it's just getting to learn campus and the community and really a transition program. And then that turns into 4 years of resources and support. We also have WISCAMP, which is a program for underrepresented students interested in STEM. So you can have faculty advisors, you can have peer mentorship and other opportunities within this program. And then peer support groups. So upperclassmen that have been involved in some of these programs, or they might have a similar identity to you. If you just need someone to connect with, that's what our peer support groups help with. And then we have post-graduation preparation. So we have McNair Scholars, which is another TRIO program. This is a research program for underrepresented students that are interested in going on to pursue a master's degree and eventually a doctoral degree. So that program helps them prepare for that.
All right, but life on a college campus isn't just what's happening in your academic classrooms, it's also what's happening outside of that. And we have a few pictures here to show you what it actually looks like physically outside of the classroom in all of our different seasons. But the first thing that I want to talk to you all about is the Powerhouse, which is our new student union and rec center on campus. However, it's so much more than just a rec center. From this picture, you can peek in and see our new swim and dive facilities that are located there. You could see the new indoor track, which is suspended there from the ceiling. We have a new indoor turf field, new place to eat on campus, spaces for you to plug in your video game consoles, ping pong tables, pool tables, lounges with comfy seating to just hang out with your friends. This has been such a great resource for our students to be able to connect with one another, especially in times of COVID. The building is 120,000 square feet. So while it wasn't designed for social distancing, it certainly makes it way easier for students to be able to still feel a sense of community together while doing it really safely. And then you'll be able to see a picture of the Powerhouse from the outside here. It is right up against the Rock River that Cherish mentioned earlier. So some of the best views within the city of Beloit are from that rooftop where students can sit down on a table and do homework or enjoy a coffee and be able to check out the whole cityscape. The Health and Wellness Center is also located within the Powerhouse. Our counseling services are free and unlimited for all of our students, and being in that building gives them easier access. And it also puts the emphasis on taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, because you can do that all within one building. Even outside of the Powerhouse, all of the offices and departments at Beloit have your back. They're in your corner and they're here to help work for you. One of those is dining services. Our on-campus catering provider is Bon Appetit. They focus on locally sourced foods from local farms. This not only helps keep small farms in business, but it also helps you to reduce your carbon footprint while you're eating. They work with students with many different dietary needs, so that way, in case you need to think thoughtfully about what you consume, you still have options while you're on our campus. The Office for Residential Life works with our students to make sure that they are comfortable living on our campus, because most students do. About 92% of students will live on campus at Beloit. We have 32 different living options. So whether you want to be in a traditional dorm room or suite style, an apartment, maybe a townhome, or a special interest house, which are really neat ways to live around a theme. Maybe you want to live in a language house or anthropology house, outdoor environmental club house, music house. The list kind of goes on and on there, but it's a way to dive more deeply into what you're passionate about and meet students who might also share a similar interest. But we also know we have to keep you busy while you're on campus. We are not a suitcase school. Students do not pack up and leave on the weekends, which means that there are events and gatherings and ways to connect all of the time during the week, but specifically on Saturdays and Sundays too. The Student Engagement and Leadership Office works with our clubs and organizations to make sure they have the funding to be able to bring different people to campus or host events and bribe you to come to them with all the free food or free t-shirts in the world. The college also runs intramural programs. So if you want to stay active and meet new friends through intramurals, those actually change every semester or mod, as you'll hear me talk about in a little bit. So that way you can shake it up, try something new, get a little competitive energy out. And we also allow all of our students to work on campus. So that's built into your financial aid package. But we focus on meaningful employment. It's not just about being able to help pay a tuition bill or earn that pizza money, but it's about you focusing on what you're doing outside of the classroom and thinking critically about how that relates to what your next step is in your life, either at Beloit or after. And if you're wondering, Karin mentioned that 40% of their students are athletes. I wonder what sports they have. Here they are. We are proud to be a Division III school. Most of our sports compete within the Midwest Conference, and you can see them listed up here. If you are an athlete who wants to continue on, that's fantastic. And given that 40% of our students are athletes, we're telling you this is a balance that you can manage and you can thrive within when you're in college. It gives you another support groups and it gives you another mentor to be able to help you through your 4 years and beyond. But I encourage you to go to our athletics website, reach out to one of the coaches or fill out one of their recruit me forms and learn more about their programs. Ask to speak to a current member of the team and learn about the team culture. And as we already acknowledged, the world is crazy and it's been crazy for quite a few months now. Beloit recognized really early on that we need to be able to keep students at the center of what we're doing and be able to adapt and change in order to make a Beloit education work for them. So we came up with the Beloit plan, which has 5 parts that I'll briefly go over. If any of them don't make sense, or if you want to hear more about one, type that in the question box and we'll be happy to address those at the end too. But the first is mods, which I hinted at a couple of seconds ago, but traditionally on campus, we have a semester-based system where students will take 4 classes. But in the midst of this, we decided to change our academic calendar this year. So we have mods. Instead of taking 4 classes over a semester, we broke that up into 2. Students take 2 classes during the first mod, 2 classes during the second mod. So you're completing the same amount of coursework, but you're able to focus on 2 courses at a time. And this is so that students can balance more easily with all of the distraction going on in the world, but it also gave us a break. So for example, our Mod 2 classes actually start up tomorrow. And for students who didn't feel comfortable or weren't able to move to campus in August, it allowed them a break within the fall to be able to move to campus if they were comfortable without disrupting any of their courses. So students are excited to jump into the second mod starting tomorrow. Real feather in our cap is our advanced mentoring program, or AMP, as you'll hear us call it for short. But this is your first foray into what Beloit advising is like. So within 72 hours of committing to Beloit, you actually get matched with your AMP advisor. This is a faculty member who's going to take the time to get to know you as a person, what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, what potential careers you want to jump into, maybe address some of the nerves about not knowing what you want to do and jump into. And then they'll help you pick out your courses. And because they know you so well, they're going to do that with a lot of intentionality. And then students who moved in to campus this fall reported feeling very confident in being at Beloit because they had this connection with a faculty member and they knew someone was in their corner who knew them really well already. But along with this comes specialized classes and workshops, and it continues on for the first 2 years. So that way you are getting the time and attention that you deserve in a college setting. And then AMP leads really nicely into career channels. So you can think of these as curated immersion into a professional field and a lifelong network of Beloit graduates. So they are kind of topics based, and some of the topics are arts, business and entrepreneurship, health and healing, justice and rights, sustainability, and there'll be more that get developed along the way. But within these channels, you can meet faculty who have interest or background in these areas. You can get connected, like I mentioned, to professional networks, and you will also have all of the resources on campus banked together for you. So whether that's clubs and organizations, applicable classes, but we want to make sure that you are getting a well-rounded view of a professional field, and that's what career channels help you to do. I'm a little biased. This is my favorite part of the Beloit Action Plan, so I'm excited that I get to talk about it with you. But we also developed our Midwest Flagship Match program in recognition that a lot of students want to stay closer to home, given everything that's happening in the world right now. And you have access, if you're in the Midwest, to a fantastic small liberal arts college. And we want to show you that this can also be done very affordably if you want to stay close to home. So for students who are admitted to Beloit College from Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, and Minnesota, we will actually match the in-state tuition for your public flagship institution. So you can see the names up here. If you search Midwest Flagship Match Beloit, it will also show you the numbers on our website for each of these states. But that's our commitment that the cost of our tuition is not going to exceed your public flagship. So you can already look at that number and rest assured that the Beloit is going to work with you to make this an affordable option, and you already know what that number won't exceed really early on. And we wrap it all up with the Beloit Promise, which is our ongoing commitment to our students, both current and the ones who will be coming in future years, that they are the reason why we are here. They're the reason why we do all of these great things. So this is manifested in a couple different ways. This past spring, it meant that we promised students we wouldn't raise tuition for this academic year. Most recently, it meant for all enrolling students that we would give them a tuition-free 9th and 10th semester to be able to maybe recoup some of the traditional campus experience, regain a sports season that they might have missed, give them the opportunity to dive more deeply into something that they're doing, maybe through research or otherwise. And so this is something that's going to continue to evolve over time, and it gives us a space to be professionally agile, kind of like we mentioned earlier. It's not just for the students, it's for us too.
Hi again. So I'm going to jump back in and finish us off. So I'll be going through the application process, affordability, some statistics from our seniors, and then our contact information. And then we'll jump into our Q&A portion. So application requirements and rounds. We are currently taking applications. We have applications in both the Common App. If you're not familiar with this, the Common App is a universal website where you can fill out one application and submit it to multiple schools. So there's over 700 colleges on the Common App right now. So Beloit is one of them. We also have an application through our own website called the Beloit College app. We don't have an application fee for either platform, and we don't have a preference for whichever platform you use. It's up to you and what's most comfortable for you to navigate. In addition to the application, there's a couple of materials that we require. So we require your most recent high school transcript and a secondary school report. Your counselor will submit both of those. And then we also require one academic letter of recommendation. Typically prefer for that to come from someone who taught you junior year. You can certainly have more than one. Just teachers that are able to speak to how you are as a student, how you interact with others, and just how you do in your school and the community. And then we're also test optional. So a lot of colleges have gone test optional in the midst of COVID. Beloit College has actually been test optional for a few years now. So what this means is that we don't require the ACT or the SAT. If you do have scores that you would like to submit, feel free, but if you don't, it's not going to impact your application in a negative way. We also have 4 rounds that you can apply under. So we have early decision, which is binding. So students apply under that round if they know Beloit is the place for them. If students are admitted under this round, it is expected that they withdraw their applications from any other institution they've applied to. We also have 2 early action rounds. We have early action 1, which has a November 1st deadline along with early decision. And then we have early action 2, which has a December 1st deadline. A lot of our student athletes will apply under this round, and just in general, these have tended to be our most popular rounds because it's nice to get your decision and financial aid offer earlier. So you can just sit down and compare to other institutions you may have applied to. For both of these rounds, they have a 1-month turnaround time to get a decision, and then about 2 weeks after you'd get a financial aid offer. And then we have regular decision, which has a January 15th deadline. Decisions for this round will be released on a rolling basis depending on when you applied. So a student that applies on January 1st will receive a decision before a student that applies on January 15th. Affordability. Beloit was ranked number 2 in the nation for financial aid by LendU. Our sticker price right now is roughly $65,000. We have very generous merit aid in place. So our merit aid scholarships go up to $36,000 a year currently. For these scholarships, there's nothing additional you have to submit. They're awarded based on your application. So for students who are admitted, when they get their admit letter, they will know which scholarship they've received. We also have 3 additional scholarships that can go up to $5,000 per year. So we have a music scholarship if you sing or play an instrument. It is a separate application and you have to submit 2 pieces of you playing or singing, and then the committee kind of goes from there. But for students that are awarded this scholarship, they need to perform in an ensemble or take lessons to keep it. And that is renewable for all 4 years. And then there's a scholarship if you've done study abroad in high school. To apply for this, you can either submit a supplemental essay, just kind of highlighting your experiences, or you can have an interview with your admission counselor. And then we have a scholarship if you're a national merit finalist. As Emily had mentioned earlier, we do have campus employment that's factored into your financial aid offer. So that can be up to $2,000 per year. So this can be in the form of work study or regular campus employment. We give all students the opportunity to work on campus, and there's many departments that you can work in. I think a misconception about working on campus is that it means working in a dining hall, but you can literally work in multiple departments on campus. So after everything is factored in, our average cost of attendance after financial aid comes out to $19,818. And if you're a student from one of those 6 Midwest states that Emily mentioned, you will benefit from the Midwest Flagship match. And then graduating with confidence. We wanted to leave you with a couple of statistics from our seniors that really highlight the value of a liberal arts degree and a Beloit College education. 85% of seniors had a mentor that encouraged them to pursue their dreams. 94% were working 6 months after graduation, and 20% were in graduate school 6 months after graduation. So I think it's really important to pay attention to the alums of an institution, the trajectory of their success, what they've been doing. Beloit College alums are very dedicated and very passionate about the college. And I've seen many success stories. And I know many people that have graduated and they all had very unique experiences. So this is a one-of-a-kind education. And then this is our contact information. We were the 3 counselors that presented to you today. We all have specific territories we work with. So if you would like to take a screenshot of this, it'll be available on the recording. You can also go to Google and type Beloit College admissions and then go to our contact page, and all of our contact information will be there. We would love to hear from you and work with you. And that was our presentation. Now we're going to open it up to Q&A.
Okay, great. There is one question here that I don't know the answer to. And so Emily and Cherish, if you do, you can answer. And if not, then we'll get back to the student with an answer. So it's an international student, and the student has not been able to take a TOEFL. And so because of COVID, right? So the qualifications for English proficiency test waiver, or is there something else that the student can do? Do you know?
So we do have a waiver. It's an English language proficiency waiver. So you would fill that out on our website. And then one of our international admission counselors would be in touch with you. They might ask some more in-depth questions, and then they kind of reach a consensus if they will waive that requirement or not. So we have had students that we've waived the TOEFL or the IELTS for.
Yeah, I'll just also throw in that we know that testing sites are closed, and that's around the world. So we will also accept the IELTS indicator scores and the TOEFL, the IBT special home edition during this application cycle too. So if you have those, we will accept those in place of kind of those official TOEFL or other scores.
Whew, thank you. Didn't know the answer to that one. We do have another question though that I'm going to serve up to both of you again. And so what is it like living in the city of Beloit? And the reason that I'm asking you is because you do and I don't. I'm actually physically located in the Chicago area. So Cherish, I know you've grown up in Beloit, and Emily, you live in Beloit. So if you can each talk about that a little bit, that would be great.
Yeah, so I'll jump in first. As Karen said, Beloit is my hometown. So I was born and raised in the city back after being away for 5 years. But just growing up, and even now, it's very laid back. It's a smaller city, which I enjoy. The downtown area has changed a lot from when I was a child. So it's really revitalized. So there's lots of events to do. And I do like the fact that we are centrally located between those larger cities. So if you absolutely need larger city life at some point, it is accessible to get back and forth. So yeah, I would say the events that are offered, there's a lot of music festivals that take place during the summer, the farmers market that runs from May to the end of October. There's a minor league baseball team in Beloit called the Snappers, and they're building their new stadium in downtown Beloit. So those games are always fun to go to. So, and I feel I'm biased because it's my hometown, but I've enjoyed living here.
Yeah, and I'll throw in that, some people think that small liberal arts colleges are in the middle of nowhere. And while that might be true, some are more isolated than others. Beloit is surrounded by other towns and cities. So you have this really unique area, and even though there's not a Target in town, it's 10 minutes away and technically in Illinois. So you don't have to worry about, does this one small area have everything I might possibly need over my 4 years? I myself find most of what I need is in Beloit though. Cherish mentioned earlier BIFF, the Beloit International Film Festival. That is a really fun event to go to. I'll give a shout out to our local area high schools, because Beloit Memorial High School actually is one of the best jazz bands in the nation. I mean, they travel, they've won so many awards, they're awesome. And they'll even get together with filmmakers and they'll do silent movie screenings. And then the jazz band will actually be live performing the music to go along with it. So you have these really cool experiences that you can go to. And really they're within walking distance of campus. So I personally love the film festival and the farmers market on Saturday mornings, who are doing their own COVID precautions. So even in the midst of all of this, you can still go and peruse and get some fresh veggies. Yeah.
Moving to a different location, can the two of you talk about on-campus housing? Because indeed we are a residential college. The vast majority of our students live on campus with us. And so we have a student who's asking a question about on-campus housing.
Yeah, so on-campus housing, you can live on campus for all 4 years if you'd like. You're only required to for your first 3. Most seniors choose to live on campus because at that point, why not? And you don't want to move farther away from your friends. When it comes to the residential experience, one of my favorite parts is that campus is somewhat split in half north and south, where you have the academic side, and then the northern side is all of your different residence halls. So you go home after classes for the day, and you're never more than like a 2-minute walk from your friends, which is especially nice within winter. But like I mentioned earlier, there's a huge variety in housing styles. And then because we are, an older campus, a lot of the rooms actually have a bigger footprint than they build residence halls nowadays. So students who are doing college tours and going around usually say, wow, your rooms are bigger than I thought they would be. And these are some of the nicer rooms that I've seen. So that's always good feedback to get.
Anything you want to add, Cherish?
We just echo Emily's comments. Also, when I was in high school, I did a pre-college program that's affiliated with Beloit College. So I actually did get to live on campus for 2 summers. And it was really nice. Like the campus, I'd say from one side to the other, it's about a 10 to 15-minute walk. So you get to know the campus very quickly. 4 of the residence halls are connected by a tunnel. So during the winter, if you don't want to walk outside, don't want to be cold, if you're in one of these residence halls, then you can walk to the other and just be inside and be warm. So yeah, I did enjoy living on campus, and I really love all the different options that we offer for students.
Great. Okay. What are some fun traditions at Beloit?
Okay, so my favorite one, and it's going to be a little niche, but my favorite tradition actually happens within the geology department. So a lot of majors have their own traditions and special things, but this one stuck out with me because as soon as you declare your geology major, if that's your path, what they do is you sit down with the geology faculty members, they crack open a geology dictionary, they give you a geo nickname, you actually get that name on a mug, and then all around the geology like lounge spaces, there's all these pegs with mugs hanging off of them. So your mug always lives in the lounge, it's there for you to use, but the cool thing is it lives there forever. So when alums come back for reunion weekends, one of the first stops that they make is to the department, they pick up their mug, and then that's what they choose to drink out of all weekend. They put it back, they wash it and put it back at the end of the weekend, and then they come back for it the next year or the next time they're on campus. So that just always strikes me as one of the really fun ones. But there's, I'll Cherish, some of the more campus-wide ones too, so I'll let you talk about those.
Yeah, so, and these are traditions / events. So Beloit has done 2 campus-wide events for many years. One is the Folk and Blues Festival that takes place in September. And it's usually on the Clyde, and just music all night long and food, and it's open to students, faculty and staff. They have bands come up from Chicago and Milwaukee. Some of our students that are in bands and do music, they might perform also. And then in the spring, we have Spring Day, which takes place before finals week. So it's on the residential side of campus, and just a way to relax and decompress before you finish out the semester. So again, music, food, and games, just really a fun way to interact with your classmates. Another event that I always like that's kind of a tradition is Chelonia. So that's an event that takes place through the dance department. Each winter, and students, whether they're majoring in dance or not, they can perform in this show. They choreograph their own pieces. They dance to their own music. So it's just really a unique, eclectic event, and I've attended it every year that I've been at Beloit. So those stick out in my mind.
And sporting events, tons of sporting events as well. So I would say that our Outside athletic fields are located 2 blocks from campus, kind of down a little bit and beautiful. And then there's sporting events in the new Powerhouse and also in our sports center. So those are much anticipated and well-attended events. I think we have time for a couple more questions. One that should be pretty quick. Cherish, how do we handle AP and IB credit?
Yep, so we do, well, Beloit has a very generous test credit policy. So we do accept both AP and IB test scores. So for AP, you have to have a score of 4 or 5 on a test, and you can bring in up to 8 units. So Beloit is on a unit system. So 1 unit is equivalent to a semester-long course. How that comes in depends on the class. So it will either substitute a course or it will count as a general unit towards graduation. So for example, AP Physics will substitute a course, AP US History will count as a general unit. And then for IB, that's also up to 8 units. You have to have a score between 4 and 7 on the higher level exams, and then a score of 6 or 7 on the standard level exams. If you do the full IB diploma, you can come in at advanced standing. So for both of those, that's something that you go through with the registrar's office. You submit your test scores, they let you know how it's coming in, and then they kind of take it from there. So we have had a lot of students take advantage of this. And then I'll also just throw in, if you've done dual enrollment with a 2 or 4 year institution, you can have a transcript from that institution sent to us. Our registrar will evaluate it and you will get a credit evaluation. So you can bring in up to 60 semester hours. So we've had students come in at quite an advanced standing by taking advantage of any of those.
Great. Okay, I think this will have to be the last question, and that is, what do we look for in an application? And I will answer that question, actually. So we do what is fondly called holistic review at Beloit, and what that means is we are looking at everything a student is providing us in their application for admission. We will also factor in interview notes if a student arranges to have an interview with us. First and foremost, we look at a student's high school record. We believe that that is a pretty reliable indicator of a student's potential for success in college. We look at the kind of courses a student has taken, how well they have done, courses that a student has chosen when it's come time to electives often tells us a lot about students' passions and interests. In general, students being admitted to Beloit are pretty solid B students, B or better, taking some honors and some AP classes. Kind of next on the list is we look at your application essay, and we place a great deal of emphasis on that for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we are a writing intensive school, and so our students will write across the curriculum, and so a student's ability to write in high school is important to us. Also, your essay is the one place on your application that a student controls in real time and is unique to them. And so it gives us a window into what you're thinking about, what's important to you, what you might bring with us, bring with you to our campus in order to enhance our campus. And so we spend a good amount of time looking at a student's essay. Recommendations, yep. We depend on your counselor and any teachers who submit recommendations to give us a sense for who you are as a student and as a person in your current environment. And usually that's going to translate to our environment. We do pay attention to what students are doing extracurricularly, whether that's something official through your school, whether it's in your community, in your family. What we look for in a student's extracurricular involvement is a depth beyond academics, right? Can you be a good student and balance the responsibilities of some other things as well? And because we are a residential community, we know that our community is only going to be as exciting as our students. And so if students are coming to us and they're only students, that's going to lend a flavor to our community that is definitely not a Beloit flavor. And then the final piece are standardized test scores for students who choose to submit them. And as Cherish mentioned earlier, Emily, we have been a test optional school for a time now. We believe pretty wholeheartedly that standardized tests are not good indicators of a student's potential for success in college. We have had about 25% of our applicant pool submitting no standardized tests as part of their application. We anticipate that that percentage is going to increase very dramatically this year. But the good news is we're poised to look at students' applications without standardized tests. And we admit the same percentage of students who apply with tests as those who apply without. Based on all that information, we admit about 60% of the students who apply to Beloit each year. And Russ is back, so our timing is good.
Timing is perfect. I want to thank all of you for presenting today and sharing that great information. And I want to thank everyone for attending this session. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. This is just one of many sessions being hosted. Be sure to sign up for additional ones where you signed up for this one. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings. Once again, the same place you registered for this session today. Again, thank you to each of our presenters from Beloit College for taking the time to present great information today. And thank you for attending. Have a great day.